You think cruising with Royal Caribbean in 2025 is basically the same as it's always been. Same ships, same fun, same rules. You're wrong. Quiet changes rolled out in 2025 are already costing people more money, more time, and more frustration on board, and most passengers don't realize what's happening until it's too late to fix it. If you cruise the way you always have, you'll overpay, miss benefits you used to get automatically, and walk straight into policies that now work against you. But if you stay with me through this full checklist, you'll cruise smarter, calmer, and with fewer surprises, even if you disagree with these changes as much as I do. This is Shipverse, and these are the Royal Caribbean changes in 2025 that I don't like and exactly how to protect yourself from each one. Phase 1. Resetting your assumptions before you book. This phase is about unlearning habits that used to work, but don't anymore. Step 1. Stop assuming the price you see is the real price action. When you see a cruise fare in 2025, immediately add daily gratuities, onboard price hikes, and pre-cruise add-ons before deciding it's a good deal. Why it matters. Royal Caribbean quietly leaned harder into post-booking revenue in 2025. The base fare looks competitive, but more costs are now shifted onboard. What goes wrong if you skip this? You budget for one number, then end up paying hundreds more after boarding, especially on longer sailings. Pro tip: compare cruises using total trip cost, not advertised fare. Two cruises with the same base price can be $300–500 apart once everything is added. Step 2. Stop assuming loyalty still works the same way. Action, recheck Crown, and Anchor benefits for your tier before every sailing. Why it matters. Several perks now have restrictions, capacity limits, or reduced value compared to past years. What goes wrong if you skip this? You board expecting benefits you've earned, only to find out they're limited, crowded, or time restricted. Insider details: some diamond level perks are now less flexible during peak sailings, even though the tier name hasn't changed. Phase 20. Onboard crowd control changes that backfired. These changes were designed to manage crowds, but often made the experience worse. Step 3. Understand the new dining pressure points action. Lock in dining plans, specialty reservations, and dining times earlier than you think you need to. Why it matters in 2025. Royal Caribbean tightened dining availability while sailing ships fuller than ever. What goes wrong if you skip this? You end up eating late, rushing meals, or stuck cycling through the same overcrowded venues. Real example: passengers expecting casual walk-in dining now wait 34–5 minutes during peak dinner hours. Pro tip: book specialty dining early, then cancel on board if you change your mind. Waiting until sailing day gives you fewer options. Step 40. The flexibility myth with shows and activities action. Reserve shows and headline activities as soon as they open in the app. Why it matters. Popular shows now fill faster due to capacity controls, even though ships are bigger. What goes wrong if you skip this? You're technically on board, but locked out of the best entertainment. Little known fact: some shows release limited standby seating, but it's inconsistent and stressful. Phase 30. Pricing changes that hit harder in 2025. This is where Royal Caribbean lost goodwill with many repeat cruisers. Step 5. Drink packages became riskier. Action: do the math honestly before buying a drink package. Why it matters. Pricing rose, enforcement tightened, and flexibility dropped. What goes wrong if you skip this? You overpay for a package that no longer matches how you actually drink on board. Insider detail: bartenders are under stricter monitoring in 2025, which means fewer unofficial heavy pours than before. Step 60. Internet pricing is no longer set and forget. Action: buy Wi-Fi early, then monitor prices until sailing. Why it matters. Royal Caribbean now uses dynamic pricing more aggressively. What goes wrong if you skip this? You pay peak pricing when others on board paid far less. Pro tip: if the price drops before sailing, you can cancel and rebook, but only if you're watching. Phase 40. Policy shifts that affect comfort and freedom. These don't show up on marketing pages, but you feel them on board. Step 7. Smoking and designated area changes action. Check the current smoking zones for your specific ship before sailing. Why it matters in 2025. Some ships reduced or relocated smoking areas, often closer to high-traffic spaces. What goes wrong if you skip this? You book a cabin or favorite hangout near an area that's now noisier or smellier than expected. Little known fact: changes vary ship by ship. Don't assume fleet-wide consistency. Step 8. Muster drill. Convenience came with trade-offs. Action: complete your muster immediately and pay attention to updates. Why it matters. The easier muster system is faster, but it's also easier to miss critical safety info. What goes wrong if you skip this? You're technically compliant, but less prepared if something actually happens. Insider perspective: Crew report more confused passengers during real alerts since these changes. Phase 50 service strain. You can feel this is not about blaming crew. It's about recognizing reality. Step 9. Expect thinner staffing coverage. Action A. Adjust expectations and plan around peak service times. Why it matters. Ships are sailing full, but staffing hasn't increased proportionally everywhere. What goes wrong if you skip this? Longer waits for drinks, housekeeping delays, and slower guest services. Pro tip: visit guest service early morning or late evening to avoid long lines. Step 10. Housekeeping no longer works the old way. Action: request extra services early if you need them. Why it matters. Once daily service is now the norm, not the exception. What goes wrong if you skip this? You wait hours for towels or trash removal. Little known fact: a polite early request often gets better results than repeated late night calls. Phase 60 final check: how to cruise smart despite these changes. At this point, you have two choices: complain on board or adapt and win. Step 11. Front load your planning. Action: treat pre-cruise setup as part of the vacation. Why it matters. Royal Caribbean now rewards early planners far more than spontaneous cruisers. What goes wrong if you skip this? You spend your cruise fixing problems instead of relaxing. Step 12. Use flexibility strategically. Action: book early, adjust often. Why it matters. The system favors people who monitor and modify. What goes wrong if you skip this? You lock yourself into bad prices and crowded experiences. Pro tip: the app is now your most powerful tool, but only if you actually use it daily. Common traps to avoid in 2025. Don't assume loyalty guarantees convenience. Don't wait until onboard to make key reservations. Don't trust old cruise habits without rechecking policies. Don't ignore small price increases. They add up fast. Royal Caribbean is still a strong cruise line, but in 2025, it rewards informed passengers and punishes autopilot cruising. Now I want to hear from you. Which Royal Caribbean change frustrated you the most? Pricing, crowds, dining, or loyalty perks?